shift up the world of work, because apparently less than 1 in 4 people in this country think that their career should come first in life. This is according to a new study. It basically says that Britain is one of the least kind of work-orientated countries in the world. 73% of Brits have named work an important part of their life. But get this, when you compare it to Italy, which was 96, and France, which was 94. I've got to say, when I read that statement, you know, does work come first in life? I think it would be a little bit, how do I word this nicely? I think it'd be a bit sad, actually, if your answer to that was yes. Because what about your family? What about, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, what do you make to it all?
I agree with that a bit. I think a number of things have changed over recent decades. One is that maybe work was something that was much more connected to community. There's a big difference between, say, work, I use this kind of cliched image here, but like work in a coal mine with the community that sprung up around it, and then being in an Amazon warehouse. So differences there when it comes to the meaning you get out of life. And then for a number of people, in the past, work often, or for a period of time, meant a home, certain quality of life, leisure time, for example. Not for everyone, but for many. And as time has gone on, the quality of work has declined. It's become more precarious. It's become less well paid for some. And I think then it's harder to make that connection between work and then what value it's bringing for your life. And I think inevitably that means that people start to see it more sceptically, or at least see it more in proportion to other things in their lives. And I think COVID would have helped in that as well, with people having to slow down, those who could work from home, for example. I think one element amongst what is a very complex picture is that it may have had them rethink some of their priorities in life as well. And I'm sure that's another factor. But work has changed hugely in recent decades.
Well, Val says, yes, the work ethic is because of the welfare state. Val says that has caused the value of no working. Anyway, Daniel, your thoughts?
Well, I generally agree that, you know, we work to live, not live to work, and that people shouldn't be told you've got to work for the good of the economy. I mean, that's Stalin would have said that. You've all got to work for the good of the economy, and you've got no say in the matter. But we do have a say in the matter because we live in a free country. But there are other things. If you're going to spend so many years... So are you telling me you think that you should be able to choose to live off benefits then? No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. I'm going to come to that. But the first thing is, if you're going to spend decades now telling people that what's really important is their work-life balance, eventually they'll start listening to you. And they'll actually say, yeah, work isn't that important, my life balance is a bit more important. So that's what we're seeing. And the other thing is, of course, as I've said before, I said last week in your show, in a humane society, people who can't work can't be left in destitution, they've got to be supported. But if you make it too easy for people to live off benefits and they choose not to work when they could, that is, I think, a mistake. And getting that balance right is important. And there's been quite a lot of that going on as well. So, but I don't think you should be saying, you know, you can't be bully pulpiting people and saying, you've got to work for the good of the economy. People should be working for their own good and for the good of their families and for supporting themselves, and not working beyond what they don't want to work once they've satisfied those demands.
What about universal basic income? Would you support something like that?
I think we need to do more trials to see what effect it has. That is something that's happening all over the world, and some of those trials look to be positive. Some of the shorter working week trials look to be positive as well. I think these are interesting concepts that, as I say, need more experimentation, fitting with the way that Daniel is interpreting the issue here, that there are certain needs and wants we have in our lives, and work provides us the ability to do that. And then getting the balance right is something that hopefully we could be equipped with more of a choice to have. Personally, I would be more interested in having what I would describe as universal, or what others have described as universal basic services that provide certain things like transport and education. We already, of course, get elements of those things now, which would then reduce some of those other pressures to then
But what does that mean, universal basic transport?
So that, for example, if you're living in a city, the transport is much cheaper or maybe even free, so that there's less of that impetus. If you're a low-paid worker, a lot of your wages begin to disappear on your commute, for example.
Well,
so
luckily for us, we have a man that knows a thing or two about transport on the panel.
I know a thing or two about transport.
So you're saying that low-paid workers, you're not saying that a proportion of their wages per day are not eaten up by their commute?
the weekly bus pass in London is one of the cheapest forms of travel that actually exists. And low-paid workers make heavy use of the bus. They don't, on the whole, travel on the tube. And they have, I think it's about 24 quid a week. I might be slightly out of date. And the whole fare structure in London is tailored to help people at different points without giving away too much free to those who can pay. Yeah. And actually, you know, it is not the case.
I don't live in London, and that's not the case for people outside of London.
I know it's not the case. I don't know what about London. I used to be in charge of transport in London. Okay? So I'd said in London, it is the case, that is the case. In other parts of the country, you have problems about the extent of public transport. It's another matter. You're not going to replicate London in the rest of the country. So you can have your free transport. There just won't be any buses. There'll be
well,
free,
you get a free bus pass, don't you, when you get to...
You get a free bus pass when you get to...
Odd?
It's about 67 now.
Yeah, 60, 65, 67.
The government did this
what
recently.
Else would you give for free then? So you've got free bus...
No, I'm not...
What about free food?
Oh, yeah.
Food is... What about free M&S? I mean...
So it's very easy to commit the fallacy of saying, because I'm suggesting making transport cheaper for people, that we'll give everyone free food. It's very easy to do that.
Food is more basic
what other things would you give?
I would... So recently the government reduced bus fare journeys, I don't know about London, I don't live in London, to £2 maximum per bus journey. That made a vast difference to the people I talk to and spend time with where I live. Before, right, for a 10-minute bus journey to get into the local city, it was costing people £5.80 for a single, right? You're doubling up, you're putting that over the course of the week. If you're working as a cleaner on low wages, that is a non-trivial knock out of your pay. I'm not saying I would love it if those buses were free. Just them being £2 made a world of difference. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. We're talking here about work, and if we have certain services that help people so that work can be a bit more of a balanced quantity element in their life so they can get more out of their lives, I cannot imagine why we would talk down to that idea. We've got to make it easy for people to get to work so they can then do that for what they need in their lives.
Well, there you go. What do you make to that?